Okay, thank you very much. We are going to study creative writing. This is a course for third year students, second semester. It is a practical course aimed at empowering learners in this field of creative writing. All learners have potential for creative writing, which is rarely exploited. But we need this course so that you can exploit that potential and you write your own creative works. So brief course description. This is a practical course in creative writing, focusing on training students in writing good imaginative drama, poetry, and prose texts basing on real life and also journalistic articles, pieces of writing, writing for the media. Objectives: by the end of the course, you should be able to define what creative writing is, its nature and scope. You should be able to describe the process of creative writing. Creative writing is a process, it's not a one-stop activity. How do you go through that process? And thirdly, you should be able to compose creative drama, creative prose, and creative poetry pieces of good quality. Learning outcomes: you should be able to write plays, write prose texts, write poetry texts, and also write journalistic pieces. Now, our course outline includes the introduction, whereby we should be conversant with the nature and scope of creative writing as an academic area in literature. We need to understand the context in which a creative writer operates. What is the context? What are the conditions or circumstances? What is the role of the writer? And what are the characteristics of a good writer? And then the audience. Every writer writes for a specific audience. What are some of the categories of audience you should write for? Are you writing for the university community? Are you writing for the open society out there? Are you writing for the media, for radio and television, etc.? Then we have forms. We look critical at the various forms of creative writing. We look at narrative writing. To narrate is to tell a story. Storytelling, how best can we perform as far as narrative writing is concerned. We have dramatic writing, plays and playlets, and even in narrative writing there are elements of the dramatic action. Then we have poetic writing. How can we write the best poems? What are the characteristics of a good poem? And then journalistic, we'll try to look at the various categories of articles, or forms of articles in the media, and how best we can write those various categories or types of articles. Then the writing process, we need to understand the writing process. How do we generate ideas? How do we brainstorm to enrich those ideas? Then we have to organize them in a logical order. Write the draft, peer review our drafts, refine them, and then present them for publishing. Then we need to understand the elements of literary texts. Setting. How do we give the text appropriate setting? Do we develop appropriate setting for a text? Setting in terms of historical, timing, physical location, and then the socio-economic background in which a creative piece is based. We have plot and story, which are closely related concepts, which oftentimes we mix up or we use interchangeably, but these are different concepts. The plot is the skeleton of the text, comprising the major incidents in a text, which incidents have a cause-effect relationship. So the story is built on the plot. And as we write a story, we need to work out the plot first and then bring in the details, which are the flesh around the skeleton. Then we have subject and theme. Subject is the referential substance. What is being referred to in a piece of writing? And theme is the inferential substance. What meaning can we derive from that subject we have written about? What is the underlying meaning? Inferential substance. How do we create credible characters? The process of characterization. We look at characters and characterization. How do we bring out our characters as real, lifelike people? If we use people, or animals, as the case is in animal farm, or insects, as the case is in the insect play. Then the other area is translating oral and written texts. We have a lot of oral literature around us, in our various languages, in our various communities, and even in our day-to-day communication. In fact, over 90% of the language we use is spoken. Can you, as a creative writer, if you attend a function, recapture what was presented orally in a different language? It might be Luganda, it might be Luo, it might be Runyachitara, it might be Lugbara. How do you translate oral and written text? Then we have peer reviewing and editing. After writing, it is very important that you give a friend, a fellow writer, to look at your work. You can even review your work yourself. And then editing. We edit to correct typology errors, mistakes, spellings, punctuation, capitalization, etc., and grammar. And also to strengthen the literariness in a written text by bringing in figures of speech, idiomatic expressions, proverbs, etc., to give the text a very rich literary flavor. Then lastly, we look at publishing and marketing. The text is pointless to write when you cannot sell what you have written. So we look at some strategies as far as marketing the text is concerned, as far as publishing the text is concerned.